Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Moments Podcast. I have restarted this intro like 5 times because my cat is playing on the toy that I'm using as a tripod right now. And I can't seem to get him to stop, but I don't know, there's nothing I can do. He is a cat on his own toy. Anyways, moving on. Welcome back to the Moments Podcast. I wanted to do a continuation, is that even a word? I think so, of last week's episode and just do like some advice and some things to talk about. Just because, number one, I only went over a few things last week, and number two, I honestly don't really have another topic that I feel ready to talk about yet. And I just want to answer some questions. And I think by the time this episode comes out, it's going to be a couple days before Halloween. And I ran into the same problem this year that I run into every single year. I'm always like, oh, my costume this year, I'm going to put in so much effort. It's going to be so original and unique and awesome. And then before I even know it, it is October 29th. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have a costume. So if you're in that same boat and you're struggling with a last minute costume, definitely do what I did last year, because originally the plan was just to be a bride. This is really good if you're single. The plan was to just be a bride. I wore a cute little white dress. I had a bouquet of flowers, wore some heels. It was very last minute. And then all of a sudden I decided when people ask what I am, I'm going to say your wife. And then everyone loved it. People would come up to be like, oh, what do you dress as? I would be like, your wife. Anyways, it was fun. It was funny. If you need something last minute, do that, because last year was a hit. But I'm going to go ahead and get into some of these things. Again, this week, no outline, no nothing, just reading through the little boxes on my Instagram story. And I have a flight tomorrow. I have to leave my house at 5:30 in the morning. I haven't really packed, so I'm kind of stressed. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just giving you some warning for how my brain is working today. I have been cleaning my house, and I just feel that my house never gets clean. And I don't know if anybody who lives alone understands this. It was different because I've lived in an apartment before. I've lived in my own space. But for some reason, when it comes to a house, I completely understand what moms mean when they're like, I clean all day long and it's never clean. It makes me so irritated, and I'm struggling with it so much. I don't know why I needed to get so into that right now. But I think when I'm home for long periods of time is when I really notice it. And I think that since I'm never really feeling like I'm cleaning all the way down to I never feel like I'm getting a deep clean, so all the time it just feels like it's getting dirtier and dirtier and dirtier no matter how much I clean it. Anyways, I guess I really didn't need to get into all that, but that's the update on my life. I'm so excited to go to Hawaii. I have so many plans and so many things that I want to do there, and I'm really just crossing my fingers and hoping that I actually do them, because actually I do want to talk about this too. I got a comment on one of my TikTok videos yesterday, and it made me so upset. It was basically just these two girls. They were kind of going back and forth. They were like, it's so annoying that she always says she's going to be consistent when she's not. And they just kind of went back and forth in the comments, and I know that the comments weren't that deep, and I didn't need to take them so personal, and honestly, I didn't now, but at first I read them, and they just made me sad. Let me explain. And they were going back and forth, and she's like, yeah, she said she was going to run every day, and that she was going to do this every day, and she just never does it, and it's so annoying. And first off, I get that. It is annoying. I'm annoyed at myself, but the next thing about that is that I don't purposely choose inconsistency. It is something I have struggled with my whole entire life, and it is something I've worked on my whole entire life. It's the reason I started going to therapy, because I couldn't stay consistent with anything, and it's because of my ADHD, and it's really, really hard for me, and I've been working on this forever, but it just made me sad because I never want it to seem like I just say I'm going to do things on purpose and then don't. It's literally the way that my brain works. And the reason that I wanted to touch on this in this week's episode is because I wanted to remind you. A lot of us have something that we have looked at throughout our whole lives as a setback. So for me, I've always thought that my ADHD was just the biggest weakness ever. It's the reason that I didn't get my degree. It's the reason that I didn't get into the good schools. It's the reason that I just always looked at it as something negative. I blamed it for every failure that I ever faced. And I kind of recently shifted it into understanding that it is my superpower. It is the reason that I'm able to keep such an open mind. It is the reason that I am capable of changing my mind every 2 seconds in the best possible way. It's what keeps me on my toes at the edge of my seat. It's what keeps me wanting to see the world, and it's what keeps me chasing new hobbies and new passions and chasing the wild and crazy dreams that most people think are wild and crazy and unattainable. And I don't know, I just had a whole little reflection moment. I wrote a little poem about it. Actually, let me read you the poem. Hold on. And now I know that it might not be relatable in every sense, but if it relates to your life in any way, shape, or form, take what you want from it. I just figure I'll share it with you. Also, please note, I haven't reread this back since I first wrote it, and some of my poems are really, really stupid. I love the way my mind works. I love that I jump from idea to idea. I love that people call my dreams crazy. I love that I want to move everywhere I travel. I love that my to-do list is 4 pages. I love that I have 200,000 pictures and I film everything I do. I love that I can be impulsive, and I love that I can't finish a conversation without getting sidetracked. I love that I can't sleep at night because that's when I'm the most creative. I love that I can be indecisive, and I love that I don't sit still. It's kind of my superpower, if you really think about it. I believe that God gave me this as a gift, not a weakness. I think there's a beauty about being able to see the world from so many lenses and being able to change my mind in the blink of an eye. I think it keeps my mind open, and it always keeps me craving more. And that's one of the more beautiful things about this life. There's always more places to go, more people to meet, and more life to experience. I know that with so many dreams, they may not all come true, but I think that that's okay. I think that what's most important to me will always hold strong, and every dream along the way brings me a little bit closer to being exactly where I'm meant to be. Life has a lot to offer, and if you can open your mind to that, the world becomes your oyster. The squirrel brain is my greatest blessing, and I spent so much time believing it was a curse. I used to blame it for all my hurt, all my struggle. I told myself I'd be happier, I'd be smarter, I'd be more successful if I could just be normal. But there's no such thing as normal, really. We all have a special gift. You just have to start viewing it as a gift. Okay, so now that I read it back, it's not very poetic, but it still put all my thoughts into one place, and I figured there's got to be someone out there who can relate to the way that I'm feeling about all of that. And just in general, I want you to just take the things that you feel like are your weaknesses and find a way to make them your strengths. Because when you can redirect and you can reshift your when you can redirect and shift your mindset into looking at the beauty of things and finding gratitude towards them, everything is going to change for you. And I'm sharing that with you from personal experience. All right. All of that being said, let's move into my little Instagram boxes. I just opened up my Instagram, and first things first, if you don't follow the Moments Pod on Instagram and TikTok, please go do so. I have a couple giveaways coming up for the new collection, which comes out on 11/11. Guys, I'm so excited. You have no idea. This collection, I feel like I've poured my whole entire heart into. Speaking of pouring my whole entire heart into things, I have been listening to Midnight's album non-stop. It is all I think about. I get so excited to get in the car every single time I have to drive somewhere because I just want to listen to it. And I only say that because Taylor Swift poured her whole heart into this album the same way that I have poured my whole heart into this merch. So I hope you guys like it. Collection 2 is going to be freaking great, but I'm looking at these boxes right now. First one is how to conquer tasks in a timely manner. Well, this is a horrible question to ask me. Let me just start by saying that, because in a lot of cases I don't finish tasks in a timely manner. I am a procrastinator at heart, and that's another one of those things where I'm actually not so mad about it, because I think when I procrastinate is when I do my best work. And I saw a TikTok that was saying basically the same thing. His name's Max. I'm sure some of you guys follow him on TikTok. He's so funny. But he posted a TikTok. He's like, I love procrastinating because I get it done. And he does things faster when he procrastinates. I'm like, you know what? I feel that. But I do have a couple tips. There's a couple things that I have tried that maybe they haven't specifically worked for me, but they will for you. First one could be kind of obvious, but maybe not. Have a to-do list and put your priorities at the top of your to-do list. Put the actual things that you need to get done right on top so that you can't avoid them and you have to keep looking at them. That's always one way to do it. I have a to-do list every single day, and I'll be honest with you, most of the time I put more things on my this is something that I struggle with too. I feel like I'm just getting into all my struggles in this episode today, but I will make my to-do list so long that it's actually impossible to finish in one day. It doesn't even matter if you're Superman. There's no way to get it all done in one day. And then I'll just transfer everything I didn't finish to the top of the to-do list the next day, which is not terrible, but it's also a little bit draining because I never have that satisfaction at the end of the day. I'm like, okay, I was productive. I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. It's more so every single day I'm like, oh, so you couldn't do it all again? I'm working on that. So what I suggest is have a shorter to-do list. Have a to-do list that just has what you actually need to accomplish 100% on there, and you don't have to write down all the little sub things or the possibilities or the things that you know you're not going to have time for and you're not going to do because you were only going to let yourself down. And I was talking to my therapist about this. I don't remember what I talked about last week, to be completely honest with you. I remember talking about friendship and I remember talking about boys, but I don't know if I shared with you that my therapist was explaining that you can't set high expectations. You have to just have no expectations and let life happen that way, because then you're always, you're not let down all the time. When we set expectations too high, there's a chance that we let ourselves down. I am kind of having flashbacks to saying this. I think I said this last week. So I'm going to move on. But if I didn't and you want me to talk about it on the next episode, just DM me and say, Lexi, you did not talk about expectations. Moving on. Next one is how to feel grounded while traveling. Wow, these kind of feel like direct attacks. Like these two are right next to each other, and these are two things that I have a really hard time with. But again, I do have tips. Oh, sorry. I'm all over the place today. Going back to how to conquer tasks in a timely manner, set reminders on your phone. I do this with a couple different things, like when it comes to which days I have to have the episode recorded by, or what ads I have to do and include and all that stuff. I set reminders on my phone, so I literally can't avoid it. It is right in front of my face, and I won't turn them off until I finish them. And that is honestly something that's super satisfying for me. And another one is put a time limit on yourself. Like, if I want to get something done in the morning, I will sign myself up for my workout class at noon. Therefore, once I sign myself up for my workout class, I guess I should include this, I get charged if I don't show up. And I don't like to get charged $30 for not showing up to my workout. So I know that I have to be there by 12. So if I wake up at 9:30, that gives me what? Like 2 hours to get done whatever the task is. And I will just like make that my only priority in that time and just allow myself to focus in and like lock in and get it done. So I recommend doing that. Like set yourself up with a time limit and somewhere that you have to be at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? I think that makes sense. I'm going to move on. That's all I got for that, honestly. But staying grounded while traveling, every time I go somewhere, I really do tell myself, Lexi, you're not going to go crazy. You are going to obviously eat whatever you want, but in a, with moderation. Like I will always tell you guys to eat what you want, fuel your soul, take care of your body, and enjoy good foods. That being said, I do think that there is, a beauty in balance and a beauty in moderation. And yes, if one day you want to eat 5,000 grilled cheeses, go for it. But, maybe throw in a salad in there too. Like make sure you're just having a little bit of everything that's good for you, everything that's bad for you, whatever the case may be. Just eat what makes you happy, but also eat what is nutrient and what is good for you. So one of the things I struggle with when I travel, I just forget what a vegetable is. Like you will not catch me at a freaking restaurant eating anything green. Like the whole entire time that I'm gone, it's cheese, it's carbs, it's grease, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it does not make me feel grounded. And I know that food is just such a touchy thing to talk about, so I'm trying to, use like the right words here and explain this in the right way. But I don't like the way that I feel when I only eat junk and when I only eat greasy foods. And that's what happens to me when I travel. So it just makes me feel really not grounded. So it's something that I'm working on every trip. I've been trying to get better and better at just incorporating good food while I travel, and it hasn't been working so well. But we'll see how Hawaii goes. It's on the list to try to see if I can have that balance. And also another thing with traveling is I'm not usually working out, so I kind of just struggle. I just feel icky, but I also don't journal and I don't really have any time to just sit still. So I'm working on feeling grounded while I'm traveling. Like when I go to Hawaii, I'm bringing my greens. So I guess my advice for this is the things that make you feel grounded at home, try to bring them and incorporate them while you travel. Like bring your journal with you and say you drink your greens drink every morning. Bring that with you. Bring your multivitamin. Bring enough for however long you're gone. And take those things and just allow yourself to remember, okay, just because I'm somewhere new, it doesn't mean I have to lose track of everything that I've been working for and everything that I've been trying to find balance and consistency with. And obviously, queen of inconsistency, as I was explaining earlier, it's hard to do. And I understand that it's going to be hard to do, but just kind of take it one step at a time. And this goes for even if it's not necessarily traveling. If you're just struggling to feel grounded in your life, try to find a few things that can be consistent. Like I'm on like week 2 of drinking my greens, and I feel good. I feel like I have accomplished something. And that's what I think is very important. If you can give yourself credit for accomplishing things, whether it is unnoticeable to someone else, or like to someone else, me saying that I drank greens 2 weeks in a row, they'd be like, okay, and for me, it's a huge deal. And I'm proud of that. So just be proud of yourself in whatever it is that you are doing and accomplishing, and it's going to help you feel grounded. And also go for walks and stay in nature. Like if you, listen to me, you guys, if you have the luxury of living somewhere where you have nature around you, like national parks or trails or hikes, I want you to go outside. And I know it's getting cold, so go take it in for the last month that you can. This is me telling you, go hiking, go touch grass, go lay on the floor in the middle of the woods and hug a tree and say your prayers and manifest to yourself and do whatever it is that you like to do when you go in nature. But please, just go be in touch with nature. This is something that I've also been. Why don't I just tell you guys about all of my life crises that I have going on right now? I've been having this struggle where I am understanding that I absolutely love my family and I love all of our friends. Like we went on a family vacation this year with 30 of us, like 5 different families. And we are so close with these 5 families. Like the kids are my siblings and the parents are literally my aunts and uncles. And we are so blessed to all have each other. And I loved every second and every moment that I get to spend with them. But I am slowly realizing I don't know if Florida is like necessarily my favorite state and the place that I want to be. But I also am just kind of having this debate where I'm like, I feel so conflicted because I love every second that I spend with the people that I live around. But I hate that I can't go on a mountain. And it's just one of those things where I'm at that age, and a lot of us are at that age in our life where we do kind of make these decisions. We decide where we want to spend the next few years of our life or the rest of our life, and it just gets kind of heavy on all of us to make these decisions. So I think that, not that anyone even asked for advice on this, I don't even know how I got to this point, no surprise there. I just want you to continue to trust that eventually it will make sense, and eventually you will understand why you've made certain decisions, and you will eventually be able to make certain decisions, and just take it one day at a time. And that's kind of where I'm at with that little life crisis that I'm feeling, and I'm just feeling blessed that I get to go climb a mountain tomorrow, let me tell you, because nature is powerful. I am a very big energy person. I've told you guys that before, but there's a really beautiful energy in the outdoors, and I want you guys to spend as much time outside as you possibly can. And this is another thing, I don't know if any of you guys listen to the Huberman Lab or have seen TikToks about him. He always talks about how first thing in the morning, go outside and take in the sun. Like, open your eyes and just let the sun come into your eyeballs. And it's really good for your sleep schedule and your circadian rhythm and all sorts of things. So I've been trying to do that every day, and it has been really, really nice. Like, so just go be in the sunshine. Go be outdoors, because I know that eventually in a lot of places it's about to get really, really cold, and I want you to enjoy the last few weeks of fall that you may have, or whatever the case may be. Just go appreciate everything that's around you. And I'm going to work on doing the same. Even though I don't have mountains, I'm going to go jump in the Florida Ocean, and I'm going to rediscover why I love the place that I've lived my whole life. I think that's another thing. We all are human, and being human comes with the way that we've all been conditioned to want what we can't have. And we've also now, I was watching this TED Talk, okay? It was called The Paradox of Choice. And it explains that we are paralyzed by choice, and we have way too many options in humanity right now. And for me, that relates a lot to like everything social media wise. We see what everyone else has. I scroll through my For You page, all I see, mountains, snow, fall trees. Other people scroll through their For You page and they see beach, sunshine, palm trees, and they're like, I want that. Meanwhile, I'm like, I want that. We are all going to want what we can't have, because we have this problem with appreciating what we do have. And I don't even want to say it's a problem. It's something that we honestly, no matter how hard we work on it, like, we are still going to be fed media that is going to make us want more. And I don't know. It's just something to work on and something to notice and just be aware of. Like, next time you find yourself paying attention to someone else and comparing every detail down to the down to the, what am I saying? Next time you find yourself comparing yourself to anything, just understand that no matter what you have, you're going to wish you had something else. So work on your gratitude and appreciation for what you do have right now, because this is a phase of your life that you should be grateful for, and that younger you is so excited to be living, and that someone else would dream of having. So when you start to look at it that way, it makes it easier to appreciate. So work on that. Moving on, next one I have is body image. I've done a couple different episodes. I think I did one on self-love, like way in the beginning, and then I also think I did one on struggling with your body image it was probably August. I think it was either right before or right after I went to Greece, so somewhere around there. And body image is such a tough thing, and it's a really hard thing to talk about just because so many of us struggle with it, and I feel like there's just never the right thing to say. Like, I can sit here and tell you all day long, love your body at all stages, love your flaws, like nothing's wrong with you, you're perfect, right? But then I go look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, that's an ugly piece of fat. Oh, you have 18 pimples. Oh, you are ugly, right? Like that, it just kind of, it's one of those things where I don't want to be a hypocrite when it comes to learning to love your body and learning to love yourself in all stages. So I'll tell you what I'm doing to work on it and what I do for myself. And that's really all I can do, because I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I don't struggle with my body. I struggle with my body all the time. All the time. Like, I will look in the mirror and I'm like, ew. Or I'll put on an outfit to go to the gym and I'm like, ew. And I'll put on a big t-shirt because I don't want to look at the way that the sides of my stomach look, or I don't want to look at how my legs look in my spandex. And yeah, I think that that's something that, especially at this age, being females, we all struggle with, because again, we are so conditioned to see this perfect beauty standard on freaking Sports Illustrated and on TikTok every day and on Instagram, because we all post our best pictures and our best moments. And yes, we occasionally see people, normalize things and talk about things, but it still doesn't make them comfortable. It still doesn't make it easy. Anyways, here's what I do. First things first, let's talk food, because there's a lot of questions on that too, and building a healthy relationship with food. Like I was saying in the beginning of this episode, food is your friend, okay? You are given this body, right, to walk this earth, to go dance on tables, to go travel the world, to go rollerblading, to go roller skating, to jump in the ocean, to go surfing. You are given this body. And it is a gift. And the only way that this body is able to function is with fuel. And your food is your fuel. And you do not want your body to run out of gas. You don't want to feel tired, and you don't want to feel lethargic, and you deserve to eat good food. And you deserve to eat what makes you feel happy, not just what keeps you looking a certain way. I want you to feel a certain way. I want you to feel happy, and I want you to feel joyful. And I want you to remember that you are deserving of every single thing that goes into your mouth. You are deserving of a full loaf of sourdough bread, or 2 different chocolate bars in one sitting, or a full ass ice cream cake in one sitting. Like, you deserve that. And it is okay. And I don't know. I want to really help you understand that. You deserve to eat because you are beautiful just the way you are. And I know that it's hard. I'm literally sitting here talking about how much I struggle with, like, looking in the mirror sometimes, but we're all working on faking it till we make it and convincing ourselves to love ourselves, because eventually we will. And I notice that in certain times of my life, I'm much better at that. But the next time that you're struggling with food, I just want you to remember that it is your friend and that you deserve it all. And all of that being said, obviously, don't just destroy, if let me figure out how to phrase this. Food is fuel, right? So food is gas, right? We don't want to put too much diesel into our body. Like, we don't want to put too much junk in there, because then obviously we're going to, I don't know what kind of analogy I'm trying to say here, but you get what I'm saying. Balance, okay? Eat your greens, eat your vegetables, drink your protein shakes, eat fruits, but also eat the bread, eat the cheese, eat the grease, eat it all in moderation and in balance. And you'll notice that when you do that, you'll have a healthier relationship with each individual food group, and you'll just feel better. So I also have a really hard time talking about relationships with food. I have a great time like touching on it and just reminding you to fuel your soul and eat what you want. I have a great time reminding people of that, but I have a very hard time talking about it on such a deep level because I have known a lot of people in my life who have struggled with an eating disorder. And when I was 16, I had a friend put all of the responsibility on me to make sure that she was eating. And that was one of the most traumatizing and hardest things that I've ever had to feel. And I didn't even understand what was going on when I was 16. I just knew that I had to tell my friend like when to eat and stuff like that. And it was really hard. And it was hard on me and it was hard on my mental health. And then I dealt with it with other friends as well. And it is just something that is too normalized. And I don't know. I want to do more research before talking about anything related to struggling with eating. I don't know. I'm going to move on. For now, this is not something that I can really get into and I can really talk about, but just remember to eat what makes you feel good, and just remember to eat and also stay active and move your body and eat your fruits and vegetables and do a little bit of everything. Moving on. How to journal / take control of your feelings. I'm going to do a whole episode on journaling, so I'm going to skip over that one right now. Self-care. This kind of goes into what I was just saying about like staying physically active. I notice that I feel the best. Like my personal favorite form of self-care is going to sweat. So whether that's going to sit in the sauna, or it's going for a walk, or it's going rollerblading, or it's going to hot yoga, I do something to sweat every single day. And I've told you guys probably a million times before that this is what I do. And I envision that the sweat dripping out of me is all of the negative energy of the things that I don't want to feel anymore and I don't want to hold in. I just visualize myself releasing them every time I drip sweat. So that's my personal favorite form of self-care. I've also been trying to, I said this earlier, stay consistent with drinking my greens in the morning and just like giving myself what my body needs and putting on lotion at night, and little things like that are what I'm focusing on for self-care right now. But I think self-care looks different for everyone in every different stage of life. Like there's certain times that self-care for me is scrolling through TikTok for 2 hours a night. And there's other times where self-care for me is working out for an hour every day. And other times self-care is cuddling with my cat and sleeping in and doing nothing. Like self-care is going to look different at every stage of your life. Sometimes self-care is grinding out all of your work for like 8 hours a day. It's going to look different in every stage. But I want you to focus on your own personal self-care in this stage of your life. Think about what makes you feel the most blissful and at peace. And to me, that's your self-care. Moving on. Situationships. If you listen to last week's episode, I talked a lot about this. I'm not getting into it again, that's for sure. Actually, I didn't really talk about situationships in general. Let me explain something to you. If you have found yourself in a situationship where you are the person who is like head over heels in love with someone and you're ready to date them like right now, and you would do anything for them, and you are putting yourself second and putting this person first, and they aren't ready, I recommend you take a step back. Obviously, you're the one in the situationship. You know the person better than I do. Obviously, I don't even know them. But if there are red flags and you're putting yourself down to build this person up, I suggest walking away. There's obviously they're all different situations, you know, where everyone's got this different thing going on. But if that's the situation that you're in and you notice that there's a lot of red flags, I want you to run, because usually, I don't know how to put this, but I've known a lot of guys who are pieces of shit. And usually those guys are in different situationships. And it can also be the girl. Like, I am at fault for a lot of reasons my situationships have gone south. But moving on. I don't really want to get into, like, boys and drama and all that stuff today. It's just not what I feel like talking about. Moving on. There's a lot on confidence and insecurity and personality and stuff. And, okay. There's a lot of this. So I think I'm just going to sit here and talk about it for a second. Remind you again that who you are is who you're meant to be. And there's a lot of different kinds of people in this world, right? So obviously, let's take voting, for example. Also, while I am talking about voting, please go register to vote. Midterm elections are coming up November 8th, and this is seriously all of our chance to change the world, to take things in a different direction. If that's what you're wanting to do, if you don't like the way that the world is going right now, now's our time. We have to start at midterms. We have to start in like our local elections, because that's where all the difference is going to be made. Because all of these, I think that on next week's episode, I'm going to include a little bit more, like get myself a little more educated on politics and voting and all of that stuff, and just kind of share my 2 cents. If you're not necessarily politically aligned with me, that's totally fine. That is the beauty of, being able to vote on different sides and all that. And I don't know. If you want to listen to what I have to say, I'll include it in next week's episode. If you don't, I'll just skip over it, okay? I don't want to get in any fights because of politics. I hate that. Moving on. How did I get on that note? I really don't know. I'm actually lost. But moving back to loving yourself. Okay, yes. Now I know where I came from. If we all vote for different people, yeah, we're all going to like different people. We are all going to like different things. And one of the most beautiful things about life is that as we go through life, we are going to learn that some people don't like us and that some people absolutely love us. And I think that one of the most important keys to feeling fulfilled in your life and feeling happy is being able to be yourself unconditionally. And I know that that's something so hard to do in this world, especially now, because people are ruthless. Like, I have gone through so many different personality, I've questioned everything about who I am because of social media, and I have tried to change things in the past because of social media. I will just get comments, and I know that we all post on social media, and sometimes it's not the random people that have something to say. It's the people in our lives that we thought we were going to be close to forever. It's our own damn family sometimes. And I don't know. It kind of sucks when someone says that they don't like something about you, or that you hear through the grapevine that someone says you're annoying, or that someone says you do this too much or you do that too much, or people the thing that breaks my heart the most and rips my heart into freaking pieces is when I post at TikTok and someone will comment and tag their friend, and I won't think anything of it, and then the friend will respond and be like, bruh, she's so annoying, I was just about to send this to you. And then I just go down the spiral in my head of wow, people probably, just as much as people are awesome and send my TikToks around and they're like, oh my god, love her, this is great, there's also so many people who send it to their friends and they're like, F this girl, she's so stupid, she's ugly, she's annoying. And I try not to go down that spiral too often, but it's really hard not to. And I obviously love what I do so much that I wouldn't change it for the world, and most people are so kind and just inspire me to keep doing it. But when I think about that, I'm just like, damn. And then I question it. I'm like, okay, well, what could I do to be less annoying to that person? And if I was less annoying for that person, don't you think I'd be 10 times more annoying to someone else who used to love the way that I was before? Moral of the story, you won't please everyone. It's impossible. So you need to please yourself. You need to be confident in who you are. So confident in who you are down to your core, in the deepest of deepness. You have to love who you are and be comfortable with who you are, and just understand that you don't need to take things personally. You don't have to be everyone's cup of tea. And I know it's hard as a people pleaser. I did a whole episode on being a people pleaser, but we just have to start understanding that. And literally one of these things, one of the boxes says how to be okay with being uncomfortable. This is one of those situations where you have to be okay being uncomfortable. You have to put yourself out there. You have to just be you, even when people kind of make you feel like shit about it. It sucks, but that's the world we live in, unfortunately, and I don't really have any other advice for that besides just to remind you that it's fine. It's gonna be okay. I can't believe I'm already at 34 minutes. I probably should cut this here, but I feel like I only answered a few things. I hope that I was able to, give you some stuff. How to handle social anxiety. I did an episode on that, stepping out of my comfort zone one, a couple episodes before this, that has touches on social anxiety a little bit, and yeah. Oh, I like this one, worrying about your future and your career. This one is tough because it is another thing where, going back to how I was talking about that TED Talk, paradox of choice, right? How we're always comparing ourselves to others, and there's too many options, and we never feel successful in the one that we picked because someone else always has something that looks better. And it only looks better because we don't have it. We fall in love with the idea of things. And take, for example, my situation here is that I am constantly worried about my future and my career path because every time I tell someone what I do, they're like, well, that's going to fall apart soon. Like, that is stupid. Why would you do that? I can't believe you don't have a degree. People can be ruthless. So in the back of my mind, all the time, is this little voice that's like, you're going to fail at life because you wanted to be an influencer. And I'm like, first of all, no brain. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what my goal is. I want to change the world one step at a time. And right now, this is the platform that I'm using to do it and to just remind people that it's all going to be okay. So it's weird. It's actually really funny that like that's what my goal is and that's what my brain does. I'm like, can we be any more hypocritical, Lexi? No. But I am here to tell you that even though that voice is there, one day at a time, eventually you're going to understand that every single thing does happen for a reason, and eventually it does all make sense. And it's one of those things where you can't really explain what that feels like until you've experienced it. I take, for example, the van, Mater. Took like years for me to understand that happened for a reason. And just trust, okay? As long as you are doing what it is that you love, it's all going to work itself out. It hasn't failed you yet. So don't give up on it now. You have to believe and you have to put out that good energy. And that voice might still be there a little bit, but we're slowly making it quieter and quieter and quieter. And understand that some days you're going to worry more, and some days you're going to worry less. And that's just completely normal, and it's completely fine. Moving on. I think that that's where I'm going to leave us. I am so excited for these next few weeks of podcast episodes because I'm going to Hawaii. I've told you guys that already. Sorry I didn't need to like say it all over again, but I'm recording with Hannah finally. I know that people have been dying. Like since I started this podcast, record an episode with Hannah. And obviously, you know, life happened and we weren't really anywhere like at the same time to record together. So I will be doing that, and I'm very, very excited about it. And I just have some really good things coming up, so I can't wait to share them all with you. And Moments Collection 2, baby, Passion is coming out 11/11. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So beyond excited. I'll start posting sneak peeks on my Instagram story and TikTok and that kind of stuff. But thank you so much for listening. You guys are seriously my best friends. I keep thinking about it, and I just wanted to say I love you. All right, goodbye. You're the best.